Hello guys and welcome to another track guide video, and this is Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, and here I'm gonna be using this Alfa 155 because it's pretty much the fastest car around the circuit. You can use the WRX, which is a little bit better on the fuel if you consider running it in the race, but I think this car has the overall edge. It's not so good on the fuel, but with short shifting it can be very quick. But either way, without further ado, let's get going. And let's get going with the track guide. And here I have to say this car is pretty stable in general, and it's pretty good on braking, so you can actually brake later than with most of the cars in Gr.4. But here, just before the 100-meter sign, I brake and just try to brake in the straight line and then follow the marks on the road. I usually like to take a lot of this curb on the right, so really climb onto the curb. This is pretty much flat out, so I'm just going full throttle out. If you need to lift, just lift a little, and then when I reach this point, of course it's the curb, I decide to turn in, or actually a little bit before that point, and then when I pass the curb I know, okay, maybe I should lift at that point, get onto the brakes a little bit, and once I get here it's where I kind of accelerate. And most of the time, if I get the good angle, it always depends on the angle, if I get a good angle, then you will pretty much get a good exit and a good time out of the corner. But here, just before the polyphony digital sign, brake in the straight line a little, and then once again follow the marks on the road. I do like to get at this point, and kind of this is kind of in the middle of the turn, and when I see the point on the left, I do try to accelerate. It always depends on the angle on this track, so keep that in mind. So these are references if you're just taking the exact same lines. But here on the left, you can see the fence when it kind of fades away, and you know, just when it fades away, you hit the brakes, and once again you follow the marks on the road. I do like to use a little bit of that curb because it gives me better rotation. So if you use the curb, you're just gonna get the faster lap time. If you don't get to the curb, you really need to get the car kind of rotate on its own, which is really difficult. But here, beginning of the curb, a little bit of braking, and kind of as I turn in, I do try to trail brake a little bit. But in general, this wasn't the best approach, and the car should kind of slide into the turn. Not as much, but it should slide into the turn. But here, I'm looking at the kind of the ending of the curb once again, and basically this is maybe a tap on the brakes at about 20%. And as soon as I get on the curb, I put the power down and eventually try to stay on the track, because it's super easy to pick up a penalty here. And I think in one of my races this happened like 5 times, but okay. Here, 100 sign a little bit before, so at 120, 125, you brake in the straight line, you're reaching the 50-meter sign, and once again, you're following the marks on the road. But make sure that you don't really press the brakes down hard while you're turning, because that will cause understeer and the car won't be able to turn. But here, once again, as soon as I get to the tire marks, I brake a little bit. So it's not like a lot of braking. Otherwise, just as I said before, the car will understeer. A little bit of braking, get to this point, and then accelerate. I usually go a little bit wider so I can accelerate slightly before this point, but in general that should be it, kind of. As I said before, it always depends on the angle. But here, the tire marks, once again, as they kind of go into the turn, you should follow them. A little bit of braking, not much, so maybe about 40%. If you can get to 40%, that's perfect. And attack this curb, really. You should actually try to turn in before beginning of the curb, so the car can naturally rotate and jump over the curbs, because this can give you a massive amount of time, and this is absolutely insane how much this last chicane gives you. But in general, my last one, so the last curb, wasn't really the best, and I think I lost a tenth and a half, maybe even 2. So make sure that you jump over both of those curbs and you will get a good result. So once again guys, if you like this video, please make sure that you hit the like button. And if you really want to, you can subscribe. Yeah, you can pretty much subscribe to the channel. But once again guys, thank you very much, and I'll catch you next time. Bye. 955.